I knew my husband's coffee order. I knew the sound he made when he was pretending to be asleep. I knew which of his smiles was the real one. 11 years. You think that means you know someone. You think there is something solid under it. There was not. Or, there was, but there was also something else. Something underneath that. 3 years of our marriage where he was living a version of his life that I was not in. And the people who were in it with him had known about me the whole time. They knew my name. They knew where I lived. They knew things about our daily life that only someone paying attention would know. I knew nothing about them. I am going to tell you what I noticed before I knew. What I found when I finally found something. What happened after. And the thing I keep coming back to, which is that this story almost never gets told from where I was standing. Everyone talks about the person who joined. Nobody talks about the person standing next to them. Daniel and I met when we were both 29. He was in finance, I was in hospital administration. A mutual friend introduced us at a thing neither of us wanted to be at, and we ended up in the corner talking for 3 hours while everyone else did the party around us. He was smart, funny in a dry way, a little guarded, which I liked. Some people are exactly what they look like on the surface, and there is nothing wrong with that. But Daniel had more going on underneath, and I was interested in it. We got married 4 years later. By our 5th anniversary, we had a house, a daughter, and a life that we had built on purpose. That mattered to me. We had made real choices, not just ended up somewhere, chosen it. He was a good dad. I need to say that clearly, and I need you to hold on to it while I tell you the rest. Whatever was happening, whatever he was involved in, he showed up for her. That did not change. Even when everything else did, that part did not change. What did change, slowly, starting around year 8, was something I could feel and could not name. I want to go through these one at a time because I think the details are the whole point. When you are inside a marriage and something is shifting, each thing by itself seems like it has a normal explanation. It is only later, looking back, that you see what they were pointing to together. The phone was the first thing. Not that he was on it more. He had always used it a lot for work. What changed was how he held it when I was nearby. A small angle away from me. The screen dimmed faster when I walked past. Nothing you could point to, just a new habit of keeping it just slightly out of my line of sight. I told myself it was work stuff, something sensitive he did not want to bring home. That was probably even true. It just was not the whole truth. The evenings out were the second thing. He had always had work dinners and events. That is just finance. What changed was how he described them. Before, he would tell me where he was going, who he was seeing, what it was for. The descriptions got thinner. Not evasive, just less. Fewer details without seeming to be hiding anything. A skill, I understand now, something practiced. The money was the third thing. Not less, more. A new income stream he called an investment return that was doing well. I did not push on it because we had always kept our finances a little separate, and I trusted him, and the truth is, the money helped. We were looking at schools for our daughter, and the numbers were better with it than without it. I told myself, do not question a good thing. The fourth thing was the hardest to name and took me the longest. His relationship with the future changed. He had always been careful, measured, thorough. Around year 8, he got certain. Not reckless, just certain in a way he had not been before. Like he had information I did not have that changed what he felt he could count on. The calculations he made about what was coming had a confidence in them that was new. And I could not find the explanation for it in anything I knew about our life. None of that alone would have made me seriously worried. All of it together made a low hum that did not go away. The phone. He was protecting family time from work stress. He always tried to do that. The thin explanations. 11 years in, you do not always debrief every dinner. I did not always want the details either. The new money. He was good at his job and investments sometimes do well. The new certainty. He was getting older, more settled. That is what happens. Every explanation worked individually. The thing they all pointed to together, I was not ready to look at that. So I found the explanation that required me to notice the least, and I used it, and I kept going. That is what loving someone does. It does not turn off your pattern recognition. It just routes the output through a filter that asks first, is there a good explanation for this? And usually there is, so you keep going. Saturday in October. Daniel was out with our daughter. I was doing the top shelf of our bedroom closet, the kind of project you put off forever and then just do all at once on a quiet afternoon. The box was at the back of the shelf, behind things that had not moved in a while. Small, dark wood, plain. I did not recognize it. I had been in that closet hundreds of times. It had a padlock on it, small combination lock, the kind you put on luggage. I was not alarmed. I was just, what is this? I figured there would be an explanation. A keepsake, maybe. Something from before we met that he kept somewhere he did not have to think about it. I assumed I would ask and he would tell me. I tried our daughter's birthday, our anniversary, the year we met, his childhood address numbers. Nothing. Then I tried the year we got married. The lock opened. Inside, 3 folded documents, a small card with a symbol on it I did not know, and a photograph. The photograph was Daniel with 4 other people in what looked like a private room, expensive, formal, somewhere I did not recognize. He was not looking at the camera. He was in the middle of saying something to the person next to him. He looked comfortable, at home there, the way you look somewhere you go all the time. I did not know a single person in that photograph. I unfolded the documents, agreements of some kind, formal, dense, parts I could follow and parts I could not. One of them had Daniel's signature, dated about 3 years back. The card had a triangle with an eye inside it, text around it in something I did not recognize. I sat on the bed with all of it in my hands for a long time. The low hum was not low anymore. I put everything back before he got home. The box back on the shelf the way it was. I do not fully know why. I think I needed time to decide how to say it. I think I was also scared and had not admitted that to myself yet. Dinner was normal, bedtime routine normal. I watched him across the table and I thought about the photograph. How comfortable he looked in it. How completely I did not know where that room was or who those people were. After our daughter was asleep, I told him I had found it. I used a flat voice because I did not know what I was feeling yet, and I did not want to start with the wrong thing. He went quiet for a second, not panicked, something more like a quick calculation, and then he said, I should have told you. Not what box, not, I do not know what you mean. I should have told you. I said, told me what? He talked for about 2 hours. He said it was a private professional network, a group that operated outside normal channels and gave members access to things, information, opportunities, connections that you could not get through regular paths. He said he joined 3 years ago. He said it had been good for us financially, which I knew. He said he had not told me because the terms required discretion and he had not wanted to put me in a difficult position. He did not use the word. I did not either. We both sat in the room with it, and neither of us said it. I asked if it was legal. He said the things he personally did were legal. I heard the framing, the things he personally did. I asked if we were safe. He said yes, nothing to worry about. I asked about the symbol on the card. He said it was just old imagery the group used internally, historical, no real significance, carried forward. I asked if he could leave. He said it was more complicated than that. That was the most honest thing he said all night. We did not separate. I know that might not be what you expected next. We stayed because I loved him, and we had a daughter and 11 years, and what he had told me, as disturbing as it was not complete enough for me to know what I was actually dealing with. So I stayed, and I watched, and I tried to understand. He was different after that conversation, more present, like keeping the secret had been something between us physically, and having it out let something ease. We talked more in the months after than we had in the 2 years before. That was real. I did not know what to do with it alongside everything else, but I started paying different attention. Not to him exactly, to the edges of things. Who called, what changed when it changed, the rhythm of his nights out. And I started researching on my own. Not on our home devices, a friend's laptop. Late nights reading things I had always written off as fringe content, and finding in some of it structures and patterns that matched what I had seen in those documents. The symbol on the card showed up in historical contexts going back centuries, and in very specific contemporary contexts. Seeing both of those things together told me something. About 4 months after the box, something happened that told me something else. A Thursday morning, Daniel at work, our daughter at school, I was home. A woman knocked on the door, probably 50, well-dressed, pleasant. She said she worked with the group Daniel was part of, in member services. She said she did routine check-ins with family members of members to make sure everyone was comfortable and had their questions addressed. Routine check-ins with family members of members. That is what she said. She knew my name. She knew our daughter's name. She knew I had found the box. I do not know how she knew about the box. Daniel said he had not told anyone. I believe him. I still do not know how she knew. The conversation was warm, professional. She answered questions I had not asked and talked about community and support and the benefits of being connected to people at Daniel's level of involvement. She did not threaten me. Nothing she said was a threat. I want to be clear about that. But by the time she left, I understood what the pleasantness had been saying underneath itself. We know where you live. We know your daughter's name. We know you found the box. We are choosing to be friendly about this. That is what a warm, professional conversation can say without saying any of it. I sat in my kitchen after she left, and I thought about the asymmetry. They had known about me for 3 years. I had known about them for 4 months. And in that entire time, I had not known that I was already part of the picture. That our daughter was already part of the picture. That our house and our routines and our life were already known to people I had never heard of. That is when it stopped being about Daniel and started being about something bigger. When Daniel joined, he did not just join. He brought his whole life with him. His life was me, our daughter, our house, our connections, our finances, our daily patterns. All of it became known to the organization because Daniel was theirs and Daniel knew all of it. The visit from the woman was not surveillance. It was management. I had become something they needed to assess. Was I going to be a problem? How much did I know? What was I likely to do with it? The warm, professional conversation was an evaluation wearing a courtesy call's clothes. Our daughter, who was 8 years old. She had been part of what they knew since she was 5. Not watched exactly, just inside the perimeter of what they knew. Known. I thought about that for a long time. I am still thinking about it. I told Daniel about the visit that night. He was shaken. The visit had not been cleared with him. He had not known she was coming, which told both of us something about where he actually sat in all of this. Not as far in as I had imagined, not as protected as he had thought. I asked again whether he could leave. This time he did not say it was complicated. He said he did not know how. We are not together anymore. The separation happened about a year after I found the box. Not because I stopped loving him, because I understood, slowly, that the version of our life I thought we were building was not something he could fully come back to. Whatever he had given over, his time, his priorities, the parts of himself that were only for us, some of it did not come back when I asked for it. Not because he did not want to give it, because it had been built into something else, and getting it back would have meant dismantling more than either of us knew how to take apart. He is trying to get out. I believe that. It is slow. It is complicated in the ways he said it was complicated. I do not know what the end of that looks like. Our daughter sees him regularly. We made sure of that first, before anything else. Whatever happened between us, she was not going to lose her father, and we have held to that. What I think about now is not the big moments. It is the ordinary days before I found the box. The dinners, the Saturday mornings, the conversations we had about normal things. He was seeing something I could not see during all of those days. He was carrying something I did not know he was carrying. And I was building a life I thought we were building together, not knowing that part of the foundation was not where I thought it was. I have not figured out what to do with that yet. If something is off in a way you can feel but not name, trust the feeling. I spent 2 years explaining away things that were worth taking seriously. I was not wrong to trust him, but I kept running every signal through the filter of my trust and choosing the explanation that required me to notice the least. I got very good at that. It did not help me. The things I noticed, the phone angle, the thinner answers, the new money, the new certainty, none of them alone means what they meant in my situation. But they were real signals, and I smoothed them over every single time. I would not do that again. I also want to say something about the woman at the door, because I think about her. She was not cruel. She was professionally warm and probably good at what she did. She came to my door, assessed me, and left, and I never saw her again. But what she represented was the moment when I stopped being a person in my own life and became a variable in someone else's structure. And that had actually happened 3 years earlier, when Daniel signed something. I just did not know it until she knocked. Nobody asks the spouse. Nobody asks the kids. Nobody tells the people who are going to be included in this decision without being asked. The person joins, and everyone they love comes with them, without knowing, without choosing. That is what I want you to carry from this. It is not just about the person who goes in. It is about everyone who goes in with them, whether they know it or not. Daniel wrote his own vows. On our wedding day, he said he wanted to build a life that was completely ours, that belonged to both of us and nobody else. I think about that. He meant it when he said it. I believe that. And then 3 years into that life, he made a decision that made part of it belong to someone else, and he kept doing it for 3 more years, and I was right there the whole time not knowing. People do not usually make one big decision to betray someone they love. They make 100 small ones that each seem manageable, and the betrayal is what those small ones add up to. That does not make it hurt less, but it makes it something that could happen to real people in a real marriage, which it did. I still do not know everything. I am not sure I want to. What I know is enough. He was real. We were real. What was happening underneath? That was real too. All of it at the same time. That is the part that is hard to explain to people who want a cleaner story. There is no cleaner version. This is what it was. I loved him. I probably still do, in the complicated way you love someone who was genuinely real to you for a long time, even after the real of it turns out to have had parts you could not see. I just wish he had told me. That is the whole thing. I just wish he had told me.